Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm Tara with Pieces of Tara Artistry. Thank you for joining me. So today I am going to show you how I measure my paints for my base paint with the colored pearl cell recipe. Now you guys are definitely going to want to stick around to the end because there is some modifications that I have made that make a big difference. I show you what failed and I also showed you what worked. So this is my recipe for the base paints, 3 parts FLOETROL. So I absolutely every single time measure out my base paints. I know other people don't do that with their pearl cell recipes. I do it because I want consistency. So I find that I have the most consistent results when I weigh out my base paints. So I did 3 parts of the US FLOETROL, and then this is 2 parts of the BEHR Satin Enamel 7300 Deep Base. That is really important when you're working with the colored pearl cell recipe, that you get the deep base untinted house paint, because you are going to tint it yourself with the color. Now when I typically work with my measurements here, I work in ounces, and then I will double and triple and whatever, however many ounces that I need. So I think I doubled this recipe. So, but definitely work in parts and measure it out. I measure it out in weight, but you could measure it out in cups or quarter cups or whatever you want to do it in. I just do it in parts this way because it's easiest for me. So that last ingredient that I just put in there was 1.5 parts of the golden color pouring medium. You can substitute in the golden GAC 800 with that recipe, but this is what I'm using in this recipe, the golden color pouring medium in the base. Now I'm splitting this into 3 cups. They're 5-ounce cups, I believe, and I'm working in fluids. So when I work with the fluids, I don't measure out the amount of paint that I'm using. I usually will just eyeball it and see. I squirt in a bit and then see where the color is, and then I will adjust from there. So you will definitely see that here when I do this. This is the Golden Fluids Teal, and what I do is I just take and I put a bit of a squirt in, and then I will take my sticks and I will mix it in. This is definitely enough. I probably could have gotten away with less paint here, but yeah, that it's a very, very pigmented paint. And this, so you're seeing, I'm showing you the consistency. It's still making a mound. So I will set that aside and I will add water to it later. Now, again, I'm taking my my golden, here what I'm doing is I didn't want to make a lot of this golden Jenkins green because I just knew I wasn't going to use a lot of it. So I kind of added some more of my pouring medium to my other cups. And again, just a very small amount of this fluid paint goes a long, long way. And, you know, with this, you know, these fluids, you're going to use way less paint. It's going to be a little bit more expensive on the front end, but when it comes to the paint and the amount you're using, compared to maybe like a craft paint or even just a less expensive tube paint, you're going to use much less of the golden fluids than you would of these other paints. So it definitely is worth it to buy the fluids, especially for this technique, because then you're not going to have to add as much water. The Tri-Art fluids are unbelievable also. I have loved using them, but in this painting I am just using the golden fluids as an example. So that third color is the golden turquoise phthalo. So now I'm just adding water to the paints here, and I don't have a lot of room in my cups, and they're small cups, so I'm adding just quite like a little bit at a time. But if you took my class, I can't talk tonight. If you took my class at PourCon, you were probably surprised at how much water we use, and I know a lot of people were shocked at the amount of water that you add to your base paints. Same with all of my FAE classes. Anytime I do these in-person classes, people are always very shocked at the amount of water that we are adding to the base paint. So you see here, showing consistency, it's disappearing in the cup, but it's not quite there yet. You want the consistency to sink and leave a bit of an inverted vortex when you hold the popsicle stick about an inch above. So you see that? You see there, it's making kind of an indent when I am holding it only an inch above. If you hold it higher, the gravity will pull the paint down and give you a false consistency. So you want to make sure that you're only at holding the popsicle stick about an inch from the top of the paint. So I am going to add water to the rest of these and get them to the correct consistency. So you're going to see me speeding this up quite a bit. Now here is the pour over paints. So pour over paints do not have satin enamel. They are not the same recipe as the base paints. So the base paints have the recipe that I just showed you. Now the pour over paints are basically a 1-to-1 ratio or a 50-50 ratio, golden GAC 800 and US FLOETROL. Now in this instance here, you will see that I just used the golden color pouring medium gloss and US FLOETROL. This is the mistake I made in this pour. Now, I cannot reiterate that enough. Do not use, if you're going to use golden color pouring medium in your base, you cannot use it in your pour over colors. You will see in the example that I show you, you will not get pearls if you use golden color pouring medium, which is gloss, in both your satin enamel and in your pour over. You need to use instead the golden GAC 800 and FLOETROL mix for your pouring medium in your pour over colors. You can still use it in the golden color pouring medium gloss in your base, but you cannot use it in your pour over colors. So here I'm just showing the example. I will use two pour over colors, the titanium white from Amsterdam and the Modern Masters pale gold. Now my pouring medium for this is 50-50 GAC 800 and US FLOETROL, and then I mix in about a 1-to-4 ratio, 1 part paint to 4 parts pouring medium, and then I add water to a very thin consistency. My consistency for the white paint and the gold paint will be that there's just leaving no trace. So these you're seeing like kind of an invert there. So it's very, very fluid. These are the base colors that I mixed originally. The teal, the Jenkins green, and the phthalo blue. So you see those are all indenting when I hold the popsicle stick 1 inch above the paint surface. And now this is the pour over consistency. It is basically flowing right into the cup, leaving no mound and going right into the surface of the paint. So here I prepped my edges. This is the wrong example, but I wanted to show you what happened here. So this is my consistency, that is correct, but this is the one where I used the pour over mix of golden color pouring medium and US FLOETROL with my white and my gold colors, my pour over colors. And you are going to see that I do not get pearls. So with my base paints, I'm just kind of gonna backpedal here. With my base paints, I like layering them because when you layer the colors like this, you get what are called, or what I call them, peacock pearls, which are like colors within a color within a color. You probably have seen, like with the bloom technique, you get the peacock cells if you use a lot of transparents, one on top of the other. You'll see a color within a color within a color of a cell. Now, the same concept goes here with these pearls. If you layer multiple colors one on top of each other, especially if you're using like transparent paints, you will get peacock, or what I call peacock pearls. So it's kind of fun to get like multiple colors within one. Now this one, so what happened is I got a message from who you probably know, Amber, from Amber's Awfully Awesome Art. She's a YouTube artist, and she was telling me that she was trying my new recipe and it wasn't purling for her. And you know, I was trying to troubleshoot with her, and she said I got pearls last week. And so I was trying to figure out what recipe she was using that. And actually, she was using paint for her pour over colors that I had given her when we were in Dallas for Fluid Art Experience back in November. So she had some already pre-mixed paints that I had a lot of extras that I just gave her. So she was using those in her pour over paints. Well, then when she got beautiful results. Well, then when she tried the recipe with the golden color pouring medium and FLOETROL mix for the pour over paints, she wasn't getting any pearls. And you know, I wasn't sure if maybe like satin enamels were off, or maybe you know, the company had changed the recipe for the satin enamels, because my pearl recipes were working just fine. Well, I had used the golden color pouring medium with white pearl base, which works fine. But when you use it with the color pouring media, or the color pearls with the BEHR satin enamel, it does not work. So with white pearls with the DecoArt satin enamel base, it's fine. But with the BEHR satin enamels, it does not work. So these are super important things to know if you are using these paints. I do not want you to have the same results as poor Amber, who was frustrated, not knowing what was going on, and didn't know what was going on. I was frustrated myself because I didn't I wasn't having similar results, and so I decided I would try and replicate what she was having problems with, and lo and behold, I had the same exact problems, which you will see here when I put this down. Typically, I will start seeing pearls pop up on one end before I even stop tilting. So the fact that I didn't see any pearls really made me worry. So I waited and I waited and I continued waiting. And I think I waited probably about, I would say 20 minutes. And typically by the 20-minute mark, I should have had quite a few pearls popping through. And I didn't really. So I decided, okay, I'm going to scrape it. I'm going to start over. And, in my mind, I started wondering about the golden color pouring medium in my pour over colors. Specifically because of what I had heard Gina DeLuca has talked about the hydrophobic effect, and that matte paints, they will have a tendency to allow clouds and to pop through because they are more matte. So I started thinking, if I have gloss on top of gloss, maybe that doesn't work. So I exchanged the golden color pouring medium in my pour over colors with my typical GAC 800 and US FLOETROL mix, and then I mixed that with paints, which I already had them pre-mixed. So I decided I would give that a whirl. So I tilted these all out, and it's funny because before I even finished tilting off this one end over here, I was already starting to see pearls pop up on that left edge, and which you guys can kind of see there. So I knew immediately what the problem was. You cannot use the golden color pouring medium gloss in the base and in the pour over. You can use it in the base just fine, but in your pour over colors, I would stick with my recipe of the GAC 800 and US FLOETROL mixed as your pouring medium, and then mix that with your paint and water, because here we see, it's a drastic difference. The amount of pearls that popped through on this second chance was exponentially more than in my original painting with the golden color pouring medium gloss in those pour over paints. Now, I wasn't really happy with the turkey that I was seeing in this one, in that gold there. So I decided to lay down some just white paint, and that's just the Amsterdam pour over paints with the GAC 800 and FLOETROL mixed with my Amsterdam white, and I just did a little bit of a Dutch pour here with my little straw and attachment. I get this from the paint pour store. There will be a link in the description if you're interested in picking up one of those. I really like it. It works great when I'm working on smaller canvases or smaller areas. I just really like it. I like the control I have with it. So Yeah, that's what I got from this one, guys. I mean, I'm sorry, this is kind of a longer video, and I'm going to let you guys watch the rest of this. I do tweak it a little bit, and then you'll see a little bit of a time lapse and a wet result. This one, I did this before I went to PourCon a few weeks ago, and I do not even know what happened to the dry results of this. It's in my studio somewhere, and maybe I'll dig it out here soon, but I've just, I don't know what I did with it. I was packaging up things, and so I'm not really sure what happened to the dry results. So if I pull it out here in the next couple of videos, I will show you the dry results, but pretty much dried the same as it looks here in this wet result. So all right, guys, if you have any questions, please let me know. I hope I was able to explain this well. I'm sure there will be some of you out there that will have questions, but yeah, if you do, just let me know. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching, for continuing to support, and I will see you guys on the next one. Y'all have a good one. Bye, y'all.